Hello everyone. Yeah. Uh, and any questions on what we covered so far? All right. So in the last session, which was interrupted, we were talking about uh, an activity which was involving two types of customers in a bank. We had a personal customer and also a commercial customer. Then there was an account, all right. Then there was a program called Run Bank, and there was a program called Bank.java. So if you look at all the classes, there was a customer class with ID, name and the address, and also the account. And the relationship between the customer and account is has a relationship. Then there were two other classes called personal customer and commercial customer. Personal customer and commercial customer, they share a relationship with the customer, and the kind of relationship is a relationship. Then there was a bank program, whereas in the bank program I have two arrays. One is a personal customer array and another one is commercial customer array. And there are two variables, integer variables, which are used to manipulate the array personal customer and commercial customer. Then there was a method called create personal customer, which is taking some arguments, and I was ensuring whether the personal customer array is not full. If it is not full, I was creating an object and holding the data. The same thing applies for the commercial customer. Then I have written a method, right? In case if I want to find a customer, and with the help of customer ID, then similarly there was a method where I was able to find the customer with the help of account number. Then there was a run bank. So we were talking about this. How do I create a personal customer and commercial customer? So if you look at the bank class again, then there are two methods. Personal customer and commercial customer. It needed arguments like name, address and home phone and the work phone. So let me ask it. So enter the name of the customer. Then you have scanner.next. You need address, home phone and work phone. Enter home phone number of the customer. Work phone. And here I go. There is a bank program object. On that object I am calling a create personal customer and I am passing all the arguments. Now what it is returning? It returns a personal customer object. It returns a personal customer object. Now I check, is that personal customer object null or not? If it is not null, then the object is created. Since the object is created, I congrats him. Then I'll give him the customer ID, which he can use it for further communication. Or I'll help him with his account number. Here we go. And if it is null, then I give him a message. I'm sorry, your request for account creation cannot be processed. That's it. Right. Similarly, for a commercial customer, or when it comes to commercial customer, I won't be asking for the home phone. Rather, I say contact person name. enter phone number of the contact person. Then I'm going to create an object. Create commercial customer. Yep. CC name, CC address. It's going to be contact person and contact person phone. And it returns what? It returns commercial customer. It's right. So far it's going good. Then comes the case 3. Now what is case 3? Oh, we said deposit and withdraw. Case 4 is withdraw. Case 3 is deposit. Case 4 is withdraw. And case 5 is display customer details. Now, customer details can be found using what? Either using a customer ID or using account number. So let me go with the case 5. Go to case 4, break. Go to case 5, break. Go to default. Let's say invalid option. Let's go with case 6, which say system.access to exit the application. Now in case 5, now there are options. What do you have? Do you have a customer ID to get the customer details? Or do you have an account number? What do you have to get the details? Then I'm prompting here. Enter the choice. Then I give a message. Scanner.nextInt. Now again I'll have a switch block here. So what is your display option? Case 1, case 2. Let's do the case 1. Customer ID. Then I prompt in then. Okay. Then enter the customer ID. Then here we go. For display, I need a cust ID. So I think it's a long. Next long. Then what next? I need to search for, okay, I need to what I need to do? I have a customer ID. So on the bank object, I will be calling get the customer by customer ID. Hey, focus here. This is important. So you are passing the customer ID. And that gives you back the customer. Now you have a customer object. What all you can do? You can display his ID. You can display all the other information. Your name, address, perfect. Got a name, address, then comes here. Account number. First you need to get the account. Then you can get the account number. Then you can also display the balance. What is the balance in the account? Then here it's simple. As usual, get the account first. Then get the balance too. Now, I have a question for you. What I need to display now? Do I need to display the home phone or work phone? Or do I need to display the contact person or contact person phone? Will I be able to say the customer is of what type? Is he a personal customer or commercial customer? How do I do that? I reiterate the question. I am able to display the customer details, but now I want to display the specific type. Now I want to display the specific type, whether the customer is a personal customer or commercial customer. How do I get into that? Because when I try to say on cust dot, I don't see any method called get home phone or get work phone, or I don't see any method called get contact person and get contact person phone. But how do I get into it? Because when you look at the bank, you are searching in both the arrays. You are also searching in the personal customer array. You are also searching in the commercial customer array. And at the end you are returning what? You are not returning a personal and commercial. You are returning a customer who is a parent. You are storing the child object into a parent and you are returning it. Because you cannot return two return types. The return type will be one. So I cannot have personal customer as a return type, because if it is a personal customer, then how do I return a commercial customer? As the return type is commercial customer, how do I return a personal customer? So that is the reason what I do is I am returning a customer. Customer being a parent, it can hold the address of both the children. Guys, are you clear about the question? All right. Okay. So let me talk about that too. Here we go. Now, what it returned was a parent. Now I need to confirm whether this parent is holding who. The parent is wrapping which child? Is the parent wrapping the personal customer or is the parent wrapping the commercial customer? So here we go. If is instance of personal customer, otherwise. So this is how we check. Is this object an object of personal customer? The keyword is instance of, or you can call it as an operator, which is going to ensure the object is of type personal customer or commercial customer. Is it of type personal customer or commercial customer? If it is of type personal customer, so you need to typecast it back. You need to typecast it back. I think I already made use of the PC. Alright. Then I'm gonna print. So home phone, get the home phone. Then comes the work phone. Get the work phone. Commercial customer. Now he's a commercial customer. Then there will be something called contact person. And the contact person name. It's done. And the same kind of similar kind of stuff you can apply it for the second case, that is search by account number. So you can ask here, instead of customer ID, give the account number. That's it. Right. So we finished off the activity, then you are left with the deposit and withdraw. So you can just give an attempt to finish off the deposit part and the withdraw part. Right. So again, in the deposit and withdraw also, again you can ask the similar kind of stuff, like whether you wanna, do you have an account number or customer ID to deposit. So accept the customer ID or account number and you can do the deposit part and withdraw part. So let me add those two methods, like deposit and withdraw. So where you want to add, whether you want to add it inside a bank or whether you want to add it inside a account class. You want to add the deposit method and withdraw method inside the bank.java, or you want to add it inside the account.java. Right. Now this is very important. Why I raise this question? What is a big deal if we create a deposit and withdraw methods in bank, and what happens if we create it in an account? Right. So what I would like to do is, every time I create an account object, or every time I create a deposit, every time I create a deposit, or every time I create a withdraw, every time I create a deposit or withdraw, I just want to maintain the transaction details. So what do you mean by transaction details? What is the amount involved in the transaction? And what type of transaction? And when it happened. Right? So if you see, the transaction is not simple. The transaction is not simple. It's a complex object. So what do you mean by simple? Which cannot be divided further. Like customer ID, I cannot break it further. Customer age, I cannot break it further. Whereas when it comes to transaction, the transaction details, when I say transaction details, which involves a transaction ID, transaction type, the amount involved in the transaction, and what else? The amount involved in the transaction, and at what time the transaction has been performed. So here I will be creating another one. Transaction. Now in this, ID, then we have something called date time, when the transaction has been created. So we have a data type in Java and it belongs to java.util package. So we got a ID, we got a date and time of the transaction. Now let's say type of the transaction. Is it a deposit type or withdraw? And if you want, we can also do this. What is the amount involved in a transaction? It can be for deposit or it can be for withdraw. Click inside a class. when you say source, when you say getter and setters. Right. Now, the class has been created. Now, how do we associate this class with the account object? Or do we associate with the account or do we associate with the bank? Now, if I associate with the bank, but how do I associate with the bank? Because transactions will be maintained by a bank, but transactions are not uniquely identified. They have to be identified basing on the customer. So all the transactions should be identified under what? Under an account or under a customer. So what I do is, okay, first I have not written a logic for generating the ID here. Transaction ID, let's go with this. Private long transaction counter. Let's initialize some value. Let's declare it as a static. Then I would go with a constructor. Here ID. Then let this constructor take some arguments. The type and the amount. Now I'm creating a date object which will maintain the date and time of the transaction. Since transaction ID is auto-generated, you don't need a set method. Date is also generated. You don't need a set method. Transaction type, you are initializing it using a constructor. You don't need a set method. Transaction amount, you are setting it using a constructor, so you don't need a set method. Now, let's go to the account.java and what do we do here? Let's declare a transaction array. Now, the number of transactions the customer performed, there is no limit on it. The number of transactions the customer performed, there is no limit on it. But since array size need to be specified, I am specifying the size as 1000. That is, I am restricting my customer to perform only 1000 transactions. He cannot go anything beyond it. I am limiting my customer to perform only 1000 transactions. He cannot go beyond it because the array size need to be specified. But in actual banking system, there is no limit on the number of transactions the customer performs. Right? Now, I would like to add a deposit method here. Deposit. Oh, one more thing. We got an array here, and as usual, in order to manipulate an array, we need a variable. So when somebody asks you to deposit, they have to pass an amount. They have to pass an amount, and here I'm doing the check. If you want to deposit, first you need to ensure that is the amount greater than, okay, I think these kind of checks we can do it there itself. Before we call, we can check. So here I just want to do deposit. So how do we do deposit here? Balance is balance plus amount. Now next thing is I want to let me make the array name transaction array. T counter, new transaction object, and it is deposit type, and what is the amount involved. Now since the transaction is successful, return the ID, transaction ID. Or we just return a transaction object. Why we need to do that? I just want to tell the customer that this is what your transaction type, this is what your transaction ID. Just return a transaction object. The similar case with the withdraw. You got a deposit method, you got a withdraw method. Right? Now let's come to the bank. Now in the bank also we need to define a deposit and withdraw. Oh sorry, public void, not void, we'll think about the return type later. Deposit. If you want to deposit, first you should pass an account number. Or whatever, you can pass account number or you can pass customer ID. I'm just passing an account number and the amount. Then I need to search for it, right? I need to check for the existency. Here we go. So I'm trying to look for the account number existency. So if the account number is found, then I'll be calling a deposit. But before I call deposit, I need to ensure is your amount greater than 0. Then I'll make a deposit. Otherwise what? If it is greater than 0, I'll call a deposit method. I dot get account dot deposit, and what it returns a transaction object. What is the deposit method return? Transaction object. Similarly here. Just give me a minute. I go back and check here again. Okay. If amount greater than 0, then return commercial customer of get account dot get account number. Oh sorry, what is that? We should call deposit, right? We should call deposit, else return null. If it is not found, then of course we return null. So just give me a minute. Yeah. Is this clear or any questions on this part? You guys just give me a minute. I'm sorry. Okay. So here we have a deposit method, and I perform the deposit with the help of account number. But if you look at the run bank and the way I displayed the customer details, right? If you see what I asked for, when somebody want to see the customer details, that is your case 5, then I ask them whether you want to see the details with the help of a customer ID or account number. Then there is a case 1 and a case 2 in the case 5. Similarly, for here 2, you should do that. When it comes to deposit, then again you should have the option 1 and option 2. Whether you want to perform deposit with the help of customer ID or the account number, then you perform the deposit. But I have written only one method, and I have written it only for what? For deposit using an account number. And you can also add one more method, deposit using customer ID, and withdraw using account number, and withdraw using customer ID. So the thing is, what extra attribute we added was, we added a transaction array to the account class. We added a transaction array to the account class. Then am I displaying the transaction details? Am I displaying the transaction details? In case if you want to display the transaction details, then you need to have getter methods for counter and also for transaction array. You just need a getter method, you don't need setters. Then how do you make use of this getter method? Let's go to the bank where I am displaying the customer details. No, not the bank, it's run bank. So you display the customer ID, name, address, account number, and the balance. And you also display the home phone and the work phone. But what about the transaction details? What about the transaction details? So here we go. If you want to display the transaction details, the object, cust, get account, get transaction array. But I don't want to navigate the array till 1000 because what is the size of the transaction array? 1000. But I may have 1000 transactions or may not have 1000 transactions. So that's the reason I won't be traveling across all the 1000. So instead I only go till get the T counter I++. Then what do you want to display the details? It's transaction 1. So it will tell you the ID of the transaction, array of I dot get ID. Then you got transaction ID. Then you have a transaction type. Get type. You got the ID. You got the type. You got the the amount involved. Oh, we are not handling this, are we? Let me look at the account. Yeah, we are handling this too. So transaction amount involved in the transaction. Transaction array of I dot get amount. Then what do we have? We got the ID, type, amount involved. Then there is something called date time. At what time the transaction has been performed. Get transaction date time. The same kind of stuff I can add it in the case 2. It's done. Right. So let's run the application. So you got to create personal customer. You got a name, address, home phone, right? So it says congratulations, your customer ID is 1001 and your account number is 10001. So next, you got your case 2, select the operation, commercial customer. Name of the customer, address, contact person name, and contact person phone. Yeah, perfect. Then what do you want to do? I want to display the customer details, customer ID or account number. I have the account number. Oh, sorry. I think, oh, we are doing it with the account number, right? What's wrong then? Case 2, enter the choice. Oh, okay. No, when I say enter the choice, oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake here. Let's go to the console. So when I say enter the choice, I should have said 1 or 2. So that anyhow, what is that? 5, enter the choice 2, then comes here. There is something gone wrong here. 10,002. There is something called null pointer exception in line number. Okay. But we have a okay. I'm sorry. Here I should change the method name. When I'm searching by account number, it is get customer by account number, not customer ID. I was making a different call actually. So here there was a program termination. So I need to start from the scratch again. I mean, when I start execution, I should have started execution completely again now. Name of the customer, address, work phone, customer ID and account number. Now let me try the option 5 with account number. Yeah. It displays ID, name, address, account number, balance, home phone and the work phone. And what is the other one we did? The other one was case 3. Okay, I didn't try it, right? Okay, so here I need to do it. I need to invoke, right? See, I'm saying a run bank, but I need to invoke those deposit and withdraw methods. So here we go. First, I'll be asking him what we did in the bank. Deposit method, so I need to pass account number as well as amount. So let me give him CISO. Enter. account number, long. For deposit you are asking for account number. So let me check, are we doing a deposit on account or not? Yeah, deposit on account number itself. Scanner dot next long. Enter the amount. Here is the amount for deposit. Then you can say scanner dot next double. You got a bank object called deposit method, pass the account number and amount. If the transaction is not null, if the transaction is not null, then the deposit is successful. Then you can say else. What is that? If the transaction is not successful, then I give a message, fails to deposit, may be due to invalid account number or invalid amount. It can be any one reason. If it is successful, then you give him, here is your transaction ID. You got a transaction object, use a transaction object to get the ID and give it to the customer. Or you normally, when you do a transaction at the ATM, you get all the details, right? You get the transaction ID, you get the transaction type, and the date and time, and the money involved. Type, name, and the amount involved. So on the receipt, the transaction receipt, you get all this information. That's it. Actually here in case 3, you should have two options. The way you have in case 5, whether you want to do using customer ID or account number. In the case 3 also you should do that. But for time being I am doing only deposit using an account number. One. Then let's do deposit using an account number. Enter the amount. Yeah, here is your transaction ID, type is deposit, and what is the amount involved. Now I can see my details. Case 5. what do you want to do? Account number. Yeah. Again, what is case 5? What do you want to do? See the details using customer ID. Yeah. So any questions for me on the whole activity? Alright. So if you guys got no question, then I have a question for you. Alright. The thing is, if you look at this, there was a program called RunBank, and in that RunBank program, or not in the RunBank, there is a program called Bang.java. In the Bang.java, I got two arrays. One is for personal customer array and another is for commercial customer array. And when I want to create a personal customer, I create it inside a personal customer array. For when I want to create commercial customer, I store him into a commercial customer array. But when I have to search for a customer, then I need to search in both the arrays, because when he comes, he just give me the account number or customer ID. He won't tell us, or what type of customer he is, because customer ID should uniquely identify a customer. So with the help of customer ID, I have to search for that customer in personal customer array as well as commercial customer array. Since we have two arrays, I need to search in both arrays. Instead, can I store both the customers into a single array? Can I store personal customer as well as commercial customer into one array? Yeah.
Yeah, Arun,
Yes.
I thought about that, and I thought that we can create a customer array and we can have the two arrays inside that customer array. But then I thought it will be really hard to keep track of the number of customers, personal and commercial. So,
See, your solution, the first half of the solution was correct. Instead of declaring two different arrays, we can declare only customer array, right? That's what you suggested.
yes.
But what was your second suggestion?
So then I thought, since we have a limit on the number of customers, it will be kind of difficult to keep track of them if we have just a single array. So we, like right now we have two counters, P counter and C counter.
Yeah.
At that point, if we just have one array of the customer class, it will be 60. The size will be 60, but
Yes.
it will be kind of difficult to find out what elements it has, like which object it belongs to it, like the how many personal customers there are or how many commercial customers there are. So I
Yeah.
didn't think about logic yet.
Okay. Okay. So the solution was correct. Instead of two arrays, we can work with single array, and I feel that will be making the things much simpler for us. Let's figure out. Okay. So the same activity, I quickly change it to bank with single array. You got your main method. Oh, I don't need a main method, right? So I pick up whatever I have inside a bank class. So as suggested, we don't go with both the arrays. Instead, I go with one customer. Let's declare the size as a 60 instead of 30, 30. Now here we go. But here, to manipulate an array, we again, yes,
Hi Arun, suppose if we want to do the infinity, because you told no, we have to limit the array anyway, we have to give the number, how much the array will take. Suppose we want to do the infinity, how we will do in that one, Arun?
alright. In that case, the arrays are not going to help us. We have
Okay.
something called a collection framework.
Oh, okay.
In that collection framework, we have some classes like array list. We got something like a set, right? And this, there is no restriction on the number of elements we store into them, right?
Oh, okay.
So when we discuss collection framework, I'm going to talk about them in detail, and this is very important
Oh.
topic too.
Okay. So in array we have to limit the array.
Yes, there is no option when it comes to array. You have to fix the size of the array.
Okay. Okay. And if we can do, we are incrementing the counter, right?
Yes.
But we cannot do with the counter. The counter will help to increase the array.
No, no, no. The thing is, this counter, you can increment it only to the size you specified here.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Now I got it.
If you try to reach beyond it, if you try to do it 61, then there will be an exception called array index out of bounds exception.
Okay, okay.
Now here we go. In counter. So let me quickly change it. Okay, so let me do this stuff. Control F. So wherever you got your P counter, let me change it with counter. Then wherever you have a personal customer, just change it to oh no, 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 no. Alright, this is not gonna work. Let me tell you. Okay. So there is a change here. So what happens is you have to create an object. Observe here what I'm doing. Personal customer. I'm creating an object. Personal customer dot set address. Personal customer dot set home phone. Personal customer dot set work phone. And personal customer dot get account number. Right. Oh, why I'm doing this? Get account dot get. Okay, it was a return statement, right? I don't know. Yeah, we don't need this stuff, right? We just return that object. Oh, you can still return that personal customer object. Just give me a minute. Okay, there's few changes here more. Now you should store it. You should store it, the personal customer, into this array. Look, when I say create personal customer, I got the name, address, home phone and work phone. Then I'm using a constructor to set the name. I'm calling the setter methods to set the address, home phone and work phone. Then I'm adding that personal customer object to customer array because I have only one array. I don't have two different types of arrays now. I have only customer array. So though he is a personal customer, since personal customer is a child class of customer, I'm storing that personal customer into the customer array. Then after that you set return null, but if the customer is created, then we should be able to return that personal customer object. That's it, done. The same thing I should also apply it for commercial customer. There is only counter. Is a counter. Then here we go. Customers.length. You create a commercial customer object. Set address. Set contact person. Right. Oh, why are we doing this? We don't need to do this now. Yeah, here one more thing was we need to increment the counter. Here also the same. But before we increment the counter, we should store him. We should store him into the array. That's it. It's done. Whereas, I hope the first two are clear. The personal customer creation and the commercial customer creation. You are creating a personal customer object, then after initializing all the values, you are storing into parent array. You are storing into the parent array. Same stuff here. You store into the parent array. Then comes the next things. When it comes to search, your job is much easier. When it comes to search, your job is much easier. Yeah, customers of I. Oh, you don't need to do this stuff. What happened? Customers cannot be resolved. Why? That's an array name. Okay, I is 0, I less than the counter. There's no personal customers here. So what happens if customers of I dot get ID is equal to the given customer ID, then just return that customer, else you return the null. That's it. So this has become much simplifier than maintaining two arrays. get customer by customer ID. The same case with customer, this one, get customer by account number. Just say C. If it is found, just return in. And you don't need this kind of stuff now. If you don't found, just return null. There is only one array, so there is no need to search in both arrays. Because customer ID and account belongs to customer. You look at customer ID belongs to customer and customer got account. Account number belongs to account. So we are not dependent on personal and commercial customer. So that's the reason. In case if you are dependent on personal and commercial, then it becomes difficult for you. But since your customer ID belongs to customer object, so the things are much easier for you here. Now when it comes to deposit 2, there is nothing called here searching in another array. It's done. Right? So now in the run bank, instead of bank object, you can create object for bank with single array. But you don't see any red color mark. You see here, how did I simplify my job? I'm not modifying my run bank. See, this is what we are talking about. You have to ensure that when you write programs, there is no dependency. I have written the programs in such a way that though instead of creating a bank class object, if I am creating a bank with single array object, I don't see any red color marks over here. Still my all programs gonna work for me. The only thing is the implementation of the methods is different. But the method names and return types are same. Right. So things are simpler for you now. Now if you look at the run bank, you know how to differentiate. You know how to differentiate because you have only one array, right? So when you have only one array, how do you do it? And here it gives you a customer object. And here it gives you a customer object. And with the help of instance of operator, you can figure out whether the object is a personal customer or commercial customer. Whether the object is a personal customer or commercial customer. Any questions or is it clear? Okay, right. So I don't think I can start a new topic now because we are left with only a couple of minutes. So if no questions, we will wind up here and we'll catch you in the next session. Yes.
Yeah, Arun, I noticed throughout the programs you have been declaring variables inside the while loop.
Yes.
Is that a good programming practice or should we declare it before the while loop?
See, when it comes to, where you want to declare variables, it depends on how long you want them to be available.
Okay.
So there is nothing called, it is good to declare the variables outside. It is a good practice to declare the variables outside, or it's good practice to declare the variables inside. It depends on how long you want this variable to be available. I'm declaring this variable over here because I want it to be short-lived. Alright, as soon as the case one, as soon as the loop ends, I want this to be destroyed, right?
Okay.
So that's the reason I'm keeping it inside a loop. Right? If you want to maintain something for every cycle, like, I created a bank object outside, right? Outside of the loop.
Right.
Because whatever the data it maintains, I want it to be available till my program execution ends. I don't want, suppose if I do this inside a loop, what happens?
The data is erased.
Every time the loop repeats, a new bank object is created, and all my existing customers whom I added earlier, they are all lost, right?
Right.
So that is the reason I created my bank object outside. Now, when it comes to these variables, right, I'm declaring it whenever I write, every time I write it. But instead, what I can do is, inside the loop only, I can do it here, commonly. This is what you were asking for, right?
Yeah, when I made the programs, I wrote them before the while loop started. I thought something about saving resources.
No. There's nothing like it, because it is, you see, if you are storing a value into a variable called PC name, do you need the same name in the second cycle?
Well, yes.
No, I repeat it. Now if you see, you got here, you entered some name,
Yeah.
right? That name is stored into this variable called PC name.
Right.
All those data you stored into an array already, personal customer object, right?
Yes.
And that personal customer object is added to the bank array, right? Now when you do your next cycle, what happens? You again ask for enter the name of the customer.
Right.
Whatever the name you entered in the previous cycle, is it still maintained in this one?
No.
It is lost, right?
I mean, yes, it's lost.
It's lost. But actually the data somehow you managed to store into the bank array. But I'm talking about this variable. This variable will not hold it. As soon as you come up with other cycle, the data in this is already lost.
Yes.
So this is local variable to the loop. So this variable has a life as long as the loop is getting executed. Once you come out of the loop, once you start another cycle, the value is lost.
Okay. My question was...
I'll tell you it. Your question was, instead of declaring it every case, in every case I'm using this name, address and everything, right?
Right.
So what we can do is, what I can do is, but I won't be declaring it outside the loop. Yeah, this is something good. String, what is the other one you got? You got a name, address. I won't be going with home phone, because home phone is only for the case one, right? So these things I can avoid. You got a name, address, because I'm going to use this everywhere in each and every case. This is something good. Here also, in the commercial customer. I can avoid this kind of stuff. If you think there is something which going to be using again and again, right? But when it comes to contact person and contact person phone, when it comes to home phone and work phone, I won't be doing that. The reason being, they are only needed in the case one and they are not needed only in the case two. They are not needed in both of them. So whatever is needed in each and every case, I will do it outside the switch block. Right. But I don't need to do it outside the loop. because I don't need them outside the loop.
Okay. But if someone does it, I mean,
It's
it
not a
doesn't
problem.
make any difference, right?
It's not a
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Because this is only a simple variables, right? Suppose if it's like a database connection, of course, they may say it's not a good practice, but it's a variable, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
And even here also, you see everywhere, you know, case 3 and then case 5, every time you need a customer ID and account number, right? So you need it in each and every case. So these kind of things, you can declare it commonly outside the switch, but you don't need to be outside the while loop because you don't need to maintain them after the loop.
Right. Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions from others? All right. If no questions, we'll catch you in the next session. I'll forward this activity, and there are some blanks in this activity. Like, you know, I finished off only few of them, so I hope you will be finishing off the rest of them and make yourself comfortable. Tomorrow we're gonna catch up with the new concepts like abstraction, abstract classes, and interfaces. All right. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Arun.